Morning.
Everybody had their coffee this morning? My name is Roy Marion, and the question I have for you is, would you be afraid of this child? Well, from the years of 1933 to 1945, the entire world was afraid of this child. Of course, at that time, he was a man. He was a man known as Adolf Hitler. The reason I'm doing this speech today is not because I agree with Mr. Hitler, not because I envy him or anything like that, but it's a history that needs to be remembered and it needs to be basically not repeated. Mr. Hitler was born April 20th, 1889 in Braunau, Austria. He was born to, forgive the pronunciations, Alois Hitler and Clara Hitler. Clara was the third wife of Alois. Alois had 8 children. Unfortunately, only 4 of them survived, 3 to adulthood. Adolf was the 7th child. He had a sister, Paula. Paula actually lived to adulthood. Paula was his favorite sister and his only full-blooded sibling. Paula would be the bottom corner here. The middle one, her name is Angela. Angela, unfortunately, was a very evil person. She was one of Hitler's aides during World War II. She also, she had several children who, by the way, have changed their names throughout history. After she swindled some land off of some poor people. He also had a brother, Alois Jr., who was a criminal pretty much most of his life. Adolf Hitler wasn't exactly always the evil person everyone knew him to be. In school, Adolf was kind of rambunctious, but a very good student. He enjoyed studying arts, music. This is one of several portraits that Adolf Hitler actually did draw up, along with this one. Adolf went through his life in primary school, which would be our version of elementary school, was a very straight-A student. Unfortunately, his secondary school or junior high, and decided he didn't like it, talked his mother into actually dropping out of school. The man dropped out of school at the age of 15. By the age of 17, he was just basically wandering around Munich, painting, playing music, played the piano very well. Pretty much a starving artist. In fact, in 1918, he tried joining the Austrian army, but was medically unfit. He was too weak to even carry a weapon, according to the Austrian army. That kind of irritated him a little bit because he really wanted to go to war. So he jumped across the lines over to Germany, which is where he joined the German army. If anybody knows anything about history, in 1918, World War I was starting up, and they weren't really picky about who they took. So they took Adolf in. Excuse me, I'm sorry, 1914. A little off my times there. During his life as a young person, there's not a lot of information on him. However, we do know that his hatred for Jews and Marxists started in his early years. His mother died of breast cancer. Her doctor was a Jewish doctor. They believe that's where it started. His hatred just pretty much grew throughout his young adulthood after the war. Actually, during the war, he was blinded with a mustard gas attack by the British, put in the hospital. At that time is when shortly after Germany surrendered during World War I, and that kind of upset him, and that set him on his path to take over basically Germany. He did a lot of political activist type stuff. He was actually arrested because the current Bavarian Socialist Party, who was running Germany at the time, thought that he was a propagandist, arrested him, and actually hired him to be a spy. They sent him to be a spy for the National Socialist German Workers' Party, which is later known as the Nazi Party. He was very good at propaganda. He was very good at speaking engagements, talked to the soldiers, talked to the German people, basically started turning the anti-Semitism on full high. Also remember at that time, the entire world was under depression, and so people in Germany were starving, they were out of work. Hitler's promises were to take over the country, put everybody back to work, and Germany would be once again, the Aryan nation would rise, which is basically what he did. Through the years of 1933, up until 1933, Hitler's spent a few years in prison. That's where he wrote Mein Kampf, which is My Struggles, which basically entailed his struggles, political struggles up to that point. One of his basic influences for writing Mein Kampf was Henry Ford. Everyone's heard of Henry Ford. Henry Ford was a very known anti-Semite. He really didn't like Jewish people. He was one of the first people to actually put a religion and make it a race. In 1933, Adolf Hitler became Chancellor of Germany. From there, it was just a political downhill slide for the entire world. He removed Germany from the League of Nations, which is basically NATO today. Then he talked his way out of the Versailles Treaty, was able to build his armies back up, take over land that was lost during World War I, and started his sights on Austria. He slowly after that took over Austria and other European nations and set his sights on the Soviet Union, which was actually his main goal during World War II, was to take over Russia at that time. He hated Marxism, he hated the Russian people, and he wanted that land. As everybody knows, he went through, sorry, I've been keeping up with this, wrote Mein Kampf. He went through, and some of the achievements that he's accredited with, unfortunately, is the V-2 rocket. This is his wife at the time, who married her 2 days before their death. This is some of the photos from the concentration camps. Definitely something that history is something that we don't want to repeat with this. Unfortunately, it does every day. We have numerous dictators that kill off their people. And in 1945, Hitler and Eva Braun took cyanide tablets, committed suicide. It's believed that, from information I could dig up, that Adolf Hitler suffered from schizophrenia, bipolarism. However, none of these theories have ever been proven. He's only been treated for syphilis, which also can cause mental illness. A lot of my sources came from History.com, Spartacus SchoolNet, and the photos I all got from Google. Thank you. I apologize, I had like a 20-minute speech written up.
All right, who's next?